Here are some examples of Kehinde Wiley's artwork. What do you notice? What stands out? For me, it's the stark contrast between the foreground and the background. Wiley sometimes allows his background patterns to come forward, passing in front of the subjects or interacting with them like physical structures. Here's another example. A few of the flowers also appear in the foreground, floating in front of the subject's chest. We are going to learn how to do this. First, we need to open our files on Photoshop. So you should have two files open on Photoshop right now. Your tessellation painting and the photo we took behind a white drop. Now, it's always good to know who your friends are. Here are the tools that will be your best friends. First, the history tool. The history panel keeps track of all of your actions on file. So, if you make a mistake, something you can't quickly undo, check your history file. Another friendly tool is the layers. Layers is, well, kind of what you would expect. It allows you to edit certain things of an image while keeping the other thing intact. Another friend for today's lesson is the Quick Selection tool. The Quick Selection tool is a fan favorite by Photoshop professionals. It allows you to efficiently select an entire image. Before we start editing, we're going to need our history panel up. Our good friend, the history panel. So let's go to the top bar, find Windows, and then go down and find History. There we go. Now let's begin by selecting our portrait. What does portrait mean again? A painting, drawing, or photograph of a person. Now go to the Quick Select tool on the left. The Quick Selection tool is really great. It finds the edges of an object and selects it. And luckily we pose behind a white background, so this should be an easy task. So start by clicking your subject and select it, and you'll see a dashed line around the initial selection. To continue adding to your selection, just click and drag over the rest of your subject, as if you're drawing an outline around it. As you do this, Photoshop will work its magic. So the image is selected. I know that because of the dotted lines that surrounds the image. Now go to Edit, Copy. Now go to your background image and go to Edit, Paste. Looks like I didn't select the image properly. Hit Delete. Now let's go back over to our subject. Luckily, with the Quick Selection tool, the image stays selected. Can't forget this detail. Now I'm going to go over and select it. Troubleshoot, 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 troubleshoot. So as you can see here, I accidentally selected too much of the portrait and I have some in the white background. So if you accidentally select too much, you can hit Alt while you select. And you can notice the cursor goes from positive to negative. Congratulations! We finished the first portion of the lesson. Now we have the subject figure on top of the tessellation, and we can start blending the foreground and the background. Yay! Now class, I would like to get your attention to the Layers panel at the bottom right. As you can see, we have two layers. We have our painting and we have our figure on top. We are going to need to create a copy of our painting. We do this by selecting the painting in the layers, right-clicking, and then hitting Duplicate Layer.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
This is a friendly and from there it'll ask you to change the name. Change it to something like blended layer. Now bring this new layer on top of your portrait so you no longer see your portrait. Now it's time to merge our foreground with our background. First, let's start by opening Color Range. Color Range selects a specific color within the image. Now go to Select in the menu bar and choose Color Range. This opens the Color Range dialog box. So since our paintings only consist of 2 colors, you can either select one or the other. Now for me, I'm going to start by selecting the red arrows. And then I'll hit OK. Now I have everything that is red selected. I'm going to hit delete on my keyboard. Boom, bye red. But if you would rather keep the other color, go back to your history by 2 steps. Last time I selected the red, this time I'll select the blue. Hit OK. Blue is now selected. Now hit delete. Now let's look back at our artist inspiration, Kehinde Wiley. Do you see how the background overlaps into the foreground? The goal is to make our artwork look like the subject is swimming in the background. Right now, our figure is drowning in the pattern. We will need to take some of it away to reveal the figure. To do that, we are going to need to use the eraser tool. Let's start by erasing key parts of the figure, like the face, the hand, and the back. To change the size of the eraser, so you can get some of the details, click the brackets on your keyboard. The left bracket makes it smaller, the right bracket will make your brush larger. Start by erasing larger areas of the pattern. During this phase, you can really experiment with the eraser tool. Think to yourself, how much do you want the foreground subject to swim in the background? To zoom into your image, press Ctrl and plus at the same time. How does the background work with the rest of the painting? And how does the image change when the background overlaps into the foreground? You can have fun during this part. Remember, you are the artist. What do you think looks best? How do you want certain parts of the foreground and background to interact? Don't forget to zoom in and out so you can look at the entire image. Arrows that are left over need to look like this, not like this. As you can see, the background becomes an important piece of the painting as well. Remember, every fine detail adds to and is important to this painting. As you can see, the background becomes an important piece of the painting as well. Typically, the backgrounds of paintings are just flat, blank spaces for the main image. Not in this case. Okay, I am satisfied with the way the foreground and background have blended together, so I am finished. So, most importantly, and what you've all been waiting for, is the time to save your artwork. So, go to File at the top bar, hit Save As. Write your file name, and for this project, it needs to be your last name, final, the date, and then you need to go to Format and hit JPEG, and then hit Save. Now you're going to want to make sure your quality is all the way, and then hit OK. And now you're done.